Welcome to New York's #2 sports show. The New York Yankees have reached the ALCS. They win Game 4 in Kansas City by a score of 3-1, and the ace, Gerrit Cole, is able to guide them there with a 7-inning, 1-run performance. And this was a really nice bounce back after a poor Game 1 outing, a game which the Yankees won, but he wasn't at his best. This was pretty much vintage Cole and, very pitch efficient as well. Through 87 pitches, look, you could have certainly made the argument for him to start the 8th inning. That wasn't the plan. They got 3 outs from Clay Holmes in the 8th, who has been really fantastic in the postseason as one of the setup men to Luke Weaver, and Weaver just does what he does. He has been otherworldly since becoming the closer. He is able to go 1, 2, 3 in the ninth with a couple of strikeouts. So the Yankee pitching, specifically the bullpen, has been unbelievable. And Weaver at the top of the list, Holmes right behind it. Then you got Tommy Kahnle as well, who didn't pitch in this game, but he was a key piece too. But Yankees offense really didn't do a whole lot, but enough. And they get 3 RBI singles, one in the first inning by Juan Soto. They get another one in the 4th from Gleyber Torres. And then, in the 5th from Gleyber Torres, a 2-out RBI single. And in the 6th, Giancarlo Stanton, he gets another one, and that made it 3-0. And then things got a little bit interesting. We'll talk about in the bottom of the 6th. Kind of a very unnecessary benches clearing situation that kind of gave Kansas City a little bit of life and was the inning that they actually scored their 1 run. But Yankees were the better team. Look, Kansas City has really good pitching. You can see why they made the playoffs, but the Yankees, at the end of the day, were a bit better. And there's still a lot of improvement to be made, but Yankees get the job done. And now they've reached the ALCS for the 4th time since 2017. So you had 2017, 2019, 22, and now 24. And the 19th time in the history of the franchise that they've reached the CS. And they will face the winner of the Tigers-Guardians series, which is going the distance. It's going 5 games, which is good news for the Yankees, mainly in the sense that if it is the Tigers, Tarek Skubal is going to be pitching Game 5 for Detroit. So he will not be available for the first 2 games of that series against the Yankees. So definitely good news there. And you can make your arguments. And between Cleveland and Detroit, I think that Cleveland's the better team, but Detroit is more of I guess, the hotter team, if you will, in the last couple of months. It's kind of this destiny thing with the Tigers, whereas kind of pound for pound, you look at the roster, and the Guardians probably have the stronger roster than the Tigers do. But both of them pose different, threats. And I will be doing a preview ALCS episode once we find out who that opposition will be. So again, Game 5 will be in Cleveland. Skubal for the Tigers for Cleveland. I haven't seen who it is. I would imagine that it would probably land on Matthew Boyd, but that's here nor there. The Yankees are able to seal the deal in Kansas City. And again, Cole is the story. Cole, we've seen a lot of really big-time starts from Gerrit Cole in the postseason. And there's been, some stinkers as well along the way, but a lot more good than bad. No question about that. And especially in the DS, despite the fact that, he had a poor outing in Game 1. And even that poor outing is really, as underwhelming as it was, he still was actually left the game in line for the win. So it's not as if he absolutely imploded or anything, but he gave the Yankees exactly what they needed against Michael Wacha, who was the Royal starter. And for Wacha, he was better than he was in Game 1, but just not good enough, and didn't really have the problem. Really, like the Yankees, they did a really good job as far as limiting the strikeouts. That wasn't such a, Kansas City only struck out 4 only 4 strikeouts for the Royals. So Wacha, I'll give the pitching lines for both. So Cole, who is the winner, 7 innings, 6 hits, 1 run, no walks, and 4 strikeouts. And then for Michael Wacha, 4 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, and only 2 strikeouts. And, they brought on Lucas Ursig right after Waka, which is a pretty desperate move. But, I get it. Like, the Royals are facing elimination, so they're bringing in their top guy immediately. And Ursig did struggle to the point where the Yankees scored a run against him. And let's talk about the Yankee lineup. So Yankee lineup, they went back to John Birdie at first, and he did well offensively and defensively. Made a really, on that play that I'm talking about that happens in the sixth inning that leads to the benches clearing, Birdie made a really nice play on a double play where he got the ground ball, stepped on first, made a great throw to Volpe, and they got the runner out at second. But Birdie also provided a single and a walk in 4 plate appearances. So 1 for 3 with a walk for Birdie. So again, that is Waldo Cabrera, John Birdie combination's been good. And I guess Waka was a reverse splits guy, but it really probably will be just about a 50-50 split between the two. And look, as far as I'm concerned, I'm in no rush for Anthony Rizzo to come back. And to be honest with you, I don't think he will be back for the CS. I mean, certainly there's a chance, and I'm sure he wants to, but with the way things are going, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And you're getting good defense from Cabrera and Birdie, and they're not exactly totally hurting you at the plate. They're giving you productive at-bats. Sure, they're not going to do a whole lot of damage, but thought they did the job. Another thing to keep in mind, Aaron Judge, this was a definite step in the right direction. 1 for 2 with a double, and a good double at that. That leads to a run, and that was off of Ursig, which is impressive, and 2 walks as well. So that is good. Like, this was definitely Judge's most complete best game at the plate, which was nice. Now let's just go through the lineup, and a lot of it is kind of similar feelings from before. It's not like there's not going to be many changes here. Gleyber Torres, really, really nice series from Gleyber. Definite positive. Has been excellent. Batting leadoff, he had a leadoff double, which led to a run right away, and he had that big 2-out RBI single in the 5th. Juan Soto, doing what he's got to do. And even though the numbers aren't really eye-popping, and there's more for him to give, and he would be the first to admit that, he's still making his mark at certain times. So he's always finding a way to do something, even though really game 1 was the one where the numbers jump out at you. And then since then, not so much. Already discussed Judge. For Austin Wells, it's been a struggle. And I wonder if they do consider moving Stanton up to the cleanup spot and moving Wells down, presumably to number 5, I would think. I would not necessarily move Wells way down the order, just maybe a spot to give Judge a little more protection. Because for Austin Wells, some nice moments in game 1, but besides that, not great. Although really good defensively from Wells. One little mistake that didn't cost them was a pop-up behind home plate that Wells was unable to grab in that 6th inning. I believe it was either the 6th or 7th. I think it was the 6th. But no harm, no foul. Stanton, very, very good. He was the best of the Yankee hitters. Adding a couple of hits in this game, including an RBI, 375 batting average with a 1.132 OPS. So Stanton was definitely the top of the heap. And yeah, just unbelievable. Jazz Chisholm Jr. trying to do a little too much, and a lot of, and look, he's a likable guy when he's on your team. Love that sort of bravado and I just think that he really, it almost reminds me of Swisher a little bit, although they're different, their styles of play are, but just the energy. I think he just needs to just dial it down a little bit, because I just get the sense that, again, there's a little bit too much extracurricular stuff and not so much in the game. Luckily, defensively, good. But at the plate, not great. Anthony Volpe only goes 1 for 4, but I thought Volpe had a really good series after a game 1 that was a struggle on both sides. What did he do? Really, since game 2, really, really was good. Made some nice defensive plays and had good at-bats. Alex Verdugo, kind of the opposite. Now, good defensively, and that keeps Verdugo in the lineup. It really does. He plays a very good left field, but he is no threat at the plate. He doesn't strike out, but it's soft contact left and right. So I do think there's going to come a point when we do see Jason Dominguez in left field. I don't think it's to start the next series, but I think if they lose a game or two and Verdugo's not doing much, I think that they will trade the defense for the offense in Dominguez. So Verdugo really ends up with a pretty lackluster series, but give him credit for game one, definitely. And then I already spoke about John Birdie. So, yeah, pretty simple stuff there. Let's discuss the game. And please like and subscribe. Would be greatly appreciated for the channel. So first inning, Michael Wacha on the mound, and the Yankees get it done right away. First pitch, Gleyber Torres double to get it started. And then Juan Soto on the second pitch, he sees RBI single to right. And Tommy Pham, who was actually really the offensive catalyst, he had 3 hits. He's got great numbers off of Gerrit Cole. Had 3 hits out of the 6 that Kansas City had. Pham bobbles it out and right. I don't think it would have mattered, though. Even if he fields that cleanly, I think Gleyber scores. So Soto gets the Yankees on the board, and then Judge grounds into a double play. So that was the one at bat. The one out he had wasn't great. It wasn't really hit hard, and it was a double play that kind of stopped any momentum from continuing. So the Yankees have a 1-0 lead there. Gerrit Cole's cruising. Second inning, Stanton gets the leadoff double. Then Chisholm Jr. strikes out. So a bad at bat for Jazz, where he got kind of screwed on a 3-0 pitch that kind of the automatic strike that was outside. But then he did himself no favors, swinging at ball 4 twice after that. And they end up not scoring, and it ends with Verdugo grounding out to first. So that's just, Verdugo has been up in some spots, run as a scoring position the last few games, and hasn't exactly delivered. So let's jump to let's go, I guess, to the 5th. Let's go to the 5th. So Volpe gets a 1-out single. Then Verdugo with an RBI ground out. 2 out, Verdugo on first, and John Birdie with a single to keep the inning going. Makes it first and third, 1 out. That's the thing, too. One of his Waldo's walks in game 3 and Birdie's single in game 4 actually was part of a rally that scored key runs, because the fact of the matter is, Yankees didn't score many of them. So any runs they did score was big, and Gleyber Torres knocks in Verdugo. RBI single with 2 out, a really big hit for Gleyber to give the Yankees a 2-0 lead, and that was the last batter that Michael Wacha would face as Lucas Erceg comes in to finish the inning. Then I think the 5th inning is where MJ Melendez gets into one deep into right that could have cut the lead to 1. And I think they said it would have been a home run in 26 to 30 ballparks. That's a teaser for something that's about to come in like the next inning. Or was it the next inning, or was the inning? It was the inning after that, actually. It was the 7th inning. But, and Melendez homered off of Cole in game 1. We go to the 6th, and Judge doubles off of Erceg. Then Wells, a productive out, grounds out to the right side, Judge over to third, and then Giancarlo Stanton with the infield in, bangs a single to center field. RBI single for Giancarlo, makes it 3-0. So Stanton, again, continuing his postseason dominance, makes it 3-0. And then, unfortunately, Volpe hits a line drive with first and second, 1 out, right at Yuli Gurriel at first, and they double off Jazz Chisholm Jr. at first. So kind of ran into some bad luck there. So it's 3-0. And then the 6th inning, things get interesting. Maikel Garcia with leadoff single, and then Michael Massey grounds into a double play. Great play by John Birdie, steps on first, throws to Volpe, and he tags out Garcia. However, it was a little bit, I guess, it's hard to describe this one. Garcia kind of goes in hard at Volpe and tries to kind of knock the ball out of his glove. And Volpe kind of just around the same time, maybe a little bit after that, kind of gets him in, I guess, like kind of an elbow or so into like the neck area of Garcia. And they were kind of both talking to each other, but then Jazz Chisholm kind of comes in. Eventually the bench is clear. Cooler heads would prevail, but definitely got the crowd a little bit juiced up. And if the Yankees did lose this game after that, I would have definitely looked back to that as a turning point. Again, it was all kind of a lot to do with nothing. But nonetheless, Kansas City gets a 2-out rally. Bobby Witt Jr. singles, and then Vinny Pasquantino gets an RBI double. It was an 0-2 pitch that was off the plate, but Cole probably wanted that a little bit further away because Pasquantino goes opposite field, cuts it to 3-1. And then Sal Perez, this is the at-bat where Austin Wells is not able to make the out behind home plate, but ultimately Cole gets Perez to pop out. Keeps it at 3-1. Angel Serpa, the lefty, comes on, goes 1-2-3 in the 7th. And the bottom of the 7th is where things get their most scary. A 2-out single for Tommy Pham, and the last batter that Gerrit Cole would face would be Kyle Isbell, who, when he hit that ball to right field, I thought it was gone. and Soto is able to make the catch. So I didn't hear if they said the stat for Isbell, how many like stadiums that would have been a home run in, but if it was 26-30 for Melendez, it would have had to have been at least that much for Isbell on his fly ball. That was very, very dicey. But Cole gets out of it, and that would be all for Gerrit Cole, as a matter of fact. And we'll jump to the bottom of the 8th, but first, top of the 8th. They bring on John Schreiber for Serpa with 1 out. He gets Judge walks, Wells strikes out, Judge steals second, goes to third on a wild pitch by Schreiber, and then on a 3-1 count, Schreiber intentionally walks Stanton, which was the right move because they bring on the lefty Sam Long to face Jazz Chisholm Jr., who grounds out. So again, like I said, a weakness on this team is that if you have a lot of left-handed pitching, you can neutralize the Yankees for sure. But what was interesting is Duke Ellis pinch ran for Stanton. And on the surface, it makes sense, but I didn't like it because if that game goes to extra innings, that Stanton at bat's coming up. So kind of unnecessary where he wasn't the lead runner. There was 2 outs. He's on first base. The Yankees are up 3-1 in the 8th. Like I don't think that the reward was worth the risk that could come. It doesn't come back to bite him, but I didn't love that move. And then at the bottom of the 8th, Clay Holmes is the one that comes on for Gerrit Cole. Me personally, I would have preferred Cole to start the 8th, but I also acknowledge that, again, that Isbell fly ball. Like, Cole might have been reaching the end, even though the pitch count was low. Again, only 87 pitches through 7 innings. But Clay Holmes does the job. And so what I've realized is Holmes and Canely, they're kind of viewed as kind of equal. It's just when it's a right-handed lane, it's Holmes. When it's a left-handed lane, it's Canely. That's what it is. And Clay Holmes was great. Strikes out Garcia looking, Massey lines out, and then Witt grounds out to Volpe. So again, give Clay his due because he could have just, when he was demoted from the closer role, things could have completely went away from him and he could have been completely irrelevant and someone else could have tried to take that role. But instead, he's grabbed it and has been a very, very meaningful part of this bullpen and a big part of the equation moving forward. He really, really is. Got to give him a ton of credit. Let's go to the bottom of the 9th. Luke Weaver comes on. And Luke Weaver has honestly been the best pitcher in baseball. I think I can say that, although obviously, it's Yankees slanted for sure, but at least one of the best pitchers in baseball ever since he got that role. And he strikes out Pasquantino. He strikes out Perez, and then Yuli Gurriel. And the sweet thing about this is that, Yuli Gurriel, Houston Astro through and through. He makes the last out to Aaron Judge, kind of that one. Tommy Kahnle was technically on the 2017 team, but was gone for a little bit. Aaron Judge, like kind of the one remaining piece from 2017, he catches that last out against Gurriel. So it's not against the Astros, but it's a little something. And Luke Weaver, again, gets the job done. Weaver's 3rd save of the series. He's been nothing short of just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant for him. So yeah, Yankees win it in 4. They did what they had to do. They avoided Game 5, which I think would have been really, really dangerous. Reagans versus Rodon, I can't say I would have felt great about that. So I'll give a little brief preview because I'm going to do an episode once we find out whether it's Tigers or Guardians. But expect it to be Carlos Rodon in Game 1 and Gerrit Cole in Game 2. We're going to see Luis Gil at some point in the series. I don't necessarily know that Nestor Cortez will be back. It sounds like there's positive progress. And I think maybe the World Series, if they get there, is more realistic. But things will look a little bit different in terms of the order. Naturally, Cole is not pitching Game 1, but he'll be good enough for Game 2, especially with the low pitch count that he had in this Game 4 against Kansas City. And yeah, as far as the roster, we'll try to project that a little bit more in the preview episode. I don't expect many changes. Maybe assuming that Rizzo and/or Cortez isn't good to go, maybe one move, maybe one little tweak, like a pitcher for a hitter move could be made. But yeah, Yankees, the offense was not great at all, but they were able to get enough. Each game really was pretty close. I mean, the biggest margin of victory was 2 runs in Games 2 and 4, and Games 1 and 3 were 1 run. So the Royals were right there. But the Yankees were the better team. That bullpen was totally locked down. And Gerrit Cole, this is what he was brought here for. The ace is able to go 7 innings of 1-run ball to help the Yankees clinch this ALDS. And now have reached their 19th ALCS in franchise history. They will await the winner of the Tigers-Guardians series as the ALCS Game 1 begins Monday night at Yankee Stadium.